Okay, we are now recording. Welcome everybody. My name is Bob Geyer and I am a volunteer with Vista Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. I will be co-hosting today's presentation along with Lisa Kwan from our San Jose office. Welcome, Lisa. Appreciate your help today.
Sure, I think I'm unmuted, right? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Welcome everyone. Thank you. We welcome Bob back to hear his voice on Check It Out. We've missed him, even though he's been present.
Thank you.
And we want to thank Corey Hanosh for doing the presentation today. He is going to be introducing some technology and pieces of equipment that I know nothing about. So it's really good for all of us to learn, and I don't even remember all the names. So Corey owns NorthState, which is the new new to Vista, having it on the San Jose location in the little storefront next door. He owns that storefront, and he's going to be doing the presentation. And Corey, take it away because I sound dumb. But good morning, everybody. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Stacy. Thanks everybody for having me. Just to kind of reiterate who we are and what we do. Again, my name's Corey Hanish, and our company is NorthState Assistive Technology. And we've been a vendor of low vision and blindness products full-time since 2012. So we're going into our 10th year of doing this full-time, and we continue to grow. And what we've done is really not be one vendor specific distributor. There's some that are out there that only handle one product line. And unfortunately, there just is no magic silver bullet out there for everybody that would work for everyone. So the more choices you have, the better chance that something's going to fit with what you need. And that's really kind of been our mantra since we started the company. And the other thing is that we try and really go out into the market across the board, because the worst thing that I've heard when I've walked into somebody's home is, why didn't my doctor tell me about this? I could have been reading 5-10 years ago and they just didn't tell me, frankly. And so we've really, and unfortunately, it's not the doctor's fault, because the doctor, if they're not low vision specific, a lot of times they say, I'm sorry, there's nothing more I can do for you. And they're not technically lying, because there isn't anything that they can do, but certainly there are other things that we could do and low vision specialists can do. So we've been working very hard to introduce the technology to the doctors. We don't want them to show the devices because frankly, they don't know. And the technology is changing so fast these days. It's really, kind of almost rivaling the electronics industry at this point, as how far, how fast your TV goes out of date or your computer goes out of date. It's starting to happen with our low vision and blindness products. So those iterations are happening every year. And that's really kind of our job to make sure that we're on top of the latest technology. We go to all the conferences. So, we want to make sure that the doctors are just saying, hey, go see these guys, or go to the Vista Center and work with the client, the counselors there, or the support staff there. Kind of how we got started with the whole storefront mentality or thoughts is the Society for the Blind up in Sacramento. We took over their retail store back in 2018, and it's been nothing but a godsend, I think, since, because all of the individuals in the Northern California, Sacramento area have been able to go in and really see a lot of access to technology that they never really had. And I'll explain why, because, we go in as distributors, whether it's myself or any of the other competitors in the area. And normally in a demo room, we go in and we want to highlight something. And usually that something is the latest and the greatest, but it might be only one device. So you don't have a big selection in a lot of the areas. So we really wanted to make sure that we built out a good selection of not only electronic devices, but also the daily living aids, because as you probably have purchased from Maxi Aids or ILA or LS&S, the catalog companies, I'm sure you picked out a product and thought it was going to be great. You got it in your hand and you went, I don't even know why I bought this. So we're starting to bring in a lot more of the technology that they have, daily living aids. And so that way you can kind of come into the store and get a touchy-feely on it and make sure it's going to be something that's going to work for you. So that's really kind of how we started with the stores within the facilities that are already dealing with the clients that we're trying to reach on a regular basis. And it just makes it easier if somebody can travel. They can come to the store. If you can't, and a lot of our clients can't drive, we can still come to you. We still do the in-home demonstration. So I wanted to kind of give you just a brief background of where we're at and what we're doing. But yeah, we're definitely on the march growing. NorthState, the name is a little misleading at this point because we're fully into Southern California at this point. I have 2 salespeople down there. I go down there quite a bit. And it's just because our services, I think, are top notch, and there's a reason why people start to utilize us. So hopefully we'll have a chance to interact with you either in the near future or at the store or whatever, but certainly that invitation is there. Historically, a CCTV has been a 30 to 50 pound boat anchor that sat on your desk and you had to go to it. It was a reading station. So, traditionally those things were something that was not real portable. If you were a student about 20, 25 years ago, you had an AV cart that you had to drag around, or the teacher dragged around between classes for you. And it was just not real easy for a student to utilize the technology from class to class. Over the last 5 years or so, we've really started to see some great innovations, whether it's companies actually designing for the fact that somebody needs to be portable with it, or it's other companies kind of piecing together off-the-shelf technology and writing software for that technology to allow us to utilize, let's say, a Surface tablet from Windows, or an iPad or an Android tablet that is off the shelf. So if something happens, the software is transferable, so we just need to get a new tablet. So that's really kind of where we focused over the last 5-6 years now, on the ultra portable and wearable technology. And so that's really kind of the main thrust of what I brought for you today, to kind of get an idea of what's out there. And it's great for students and working professionals, but you know what, even my retired folks are traveling and they need to be able to bring something with them to be able to look at things on the go. And that's really kind of some of the technology that I'll show you today. Wearable devices, we have both low vision devices and then for no vision devices. And I'll kind of touch base on a little bit of that too. And an OCR device. I have a straight standalone scanner that I want to show you because it's actually pretty cool. So what I have in front of us now is tablet systems. So there's one tablet system, a second tablet system, and a third tablet system that we'll get to and kind of go through. Each are very similar, but significantly different for the end user. Now, the first one here, this is called the Revo2Go. So Revo, R-E-V-O, the number 2, and Go, G-O. And it's a Windows tablet. This is the Surface 7 tablet. So it's a full Windows computer, but it's about the size of my hand. It's a 12.3-inch screen. So it's something that you're going to obviously have to be able to see with a smaller screen, but it's nice and very portable. So that tablet is in a stand, and the tablet is held above the table itself. So I can slide documents underneath it just like I would normally do with a CCTV. There's no integrated table. You're just basically going to slide the material underneath it. But there's actually a program on here, this little red dot. It's called Read Desk. But I double tap since it's a Windows tablet. Well, let's try that again. Can we do that? Are you waking up? All right, there we go. Wouldn't be a demonstration if there wasn't some technical difficulties. So what we have now is whatever's underneath the camera. This is the integrated camera on the tablet itself, and it's presented up on the screen so we can use that as a CCTV. Now, there's no dials or anything on this particular device, but just like you would intuitively think on a tablet, I can pinch to zoom. So I make it as big as I need it to be. If it's out of focus, I don't know if you can see how out of focus it is. If I touch it with one finger, it refocuses the camera for me. Now, there are some hot buttons, and I'll kind of show you that up here at the top. There's a little drop-down menu. And we'll kind of go from left to right. There's a red X that cancels the program, kicks me out of it. There's a green button, and that would actually take a picture for the OCR, or the text to speech. And so once that happens, it'll actually start reading that to me. And then just like a scanner, it gives me an option to save that text as a text file. Where would that be good? If I had a worksheet, if I was a student, I had a worksheet, I needed to manipulate that, I can actually import it into Word or a Google Doc, type and actually then save and send that to my teacher or a working professional. Any place that you might need a scanner, that's where that would work out. This gray button here is a file folder. What's going to be in there is any picture or that I take with the blue button. The blue button is going to save things as a JPEG straight away. So if I needed to, kind of save things for later, I didn't really need to read it at this point, I would save it to the tablet, and then I can either find it in my file folder or in the Windows tree of the tablet, because again, it's a full computer. The plus and the minus is your up and down magnification. It'll work with the integrated camera, but again, the pinch to zoom just is faster. That's more for the distance camera, and I'll show you that in a minute, but that's the distance camera, so we'd be able to see a presentation at the front of the room if we were a student or even a working professional. This color palette here changes the color combinations of the screen. So again, just like a full-featured CCTV, I can get whatever color combination, and probably ones that I would never want, but they're there. So we have the ability to use it just like a standard CCTV with the colors. This telescope, that's for the distance camera off to the side. So if I hit that, let's go ahead and toggle over. Now it's looking at my blank wall across the room from me. I'll look at a picture that's right there. So we'll back out, and then I'm just physically manipulating the camera to what I want to focus on at a distance. So again, that would be very good for students. If you happen to have this over by a window, you can look out at a bird feeder, spy on your neighbors. I don't know. I just give you the options. I don't really judge. But that's really what that's for, is the distance camera. And then again, I can use this magnification buttons up and down to use that. Now, going back to where that button used to be, there was a telescope, yellow and black one. Now I have two different buttons. This orange one here will bring me back down to the integrated camera, or if I hit this light blue button, it's actually going to give me a unique thing where I have a split screen between the distance camera and the integrated camera. So now if I'm a student, I can be looking at the front of the room. If it was a math class, I could be watching the teacher tell me how to do the problem, and then I could be writing underneath the camera here or taking notes as needed for it. So that's really, and they're independently controllable. If I touch that half of the screen, I can adjust either camera independently. So that's a really great feature that we have with this one. Again, it's splitting the 12.3-inch screen, so maybe it's not big enough for certain individuals. However, I will give you a heads up. In a week and a half, we have the CSUN conference down in Southern California, and we're actually going to be introducing the next generation of this product. And it's going to be the Surface 8 tablet, which is a 13-inch screen, so this will be slightly larger, but it will have a secondary screen that will be sitting above next to the distance camera. And what that's going to allow us to do is actually have each of these cameras independently on those screens. So now you'll have a full 13-inch screen that you can control for the downward camera, and another 13-inch screen above that you could put the distance camera on and actually have the full viewing area of 13 inches. So don't tell anybody, that's a heads up for you. That's coming in a week and a half. So this one we'll still have this for available for a while, but we're going to be moving to that 13-inch Surface 8 system very shortly. So that'll be the Revo 13, just so you know. Again, going back, if I want to go back to the integrated camera, I hit this orange button and it just pushes me back down to the bottom camera here where I have this page. And again, we're just using this as our CCTV. For the text to speech, it's that green button, if you recall. The camera is going to take a picture of whatever it sees. How we work with the tablet systems is, and again, this might get a little jerky, but I got to do something with the stand, is we actually go horizontal to the table, and then we just turn the page sideways. And then since I've adjusted the height of the camera, I'm just going to tap it just so it makes sure it's in focus. And then I hit the green button. And then we can bring it back down to a better viewing area once it takes that picture.
416, Igapro 12.9, $3,995, Igapro 12.9.
So it's just going to start reading that whole thing to me, but I'm going to pause it by touching the screen itself. And then I can make it as big as we want it to be. And then whatever word I touch is where it's going to start reading from.
Contrast and freeze the image. The user can check email, surf the internet, create documents, and anything else normally done on a computer. Revo2Go WIN 12 inches Pro, 4 GB RAM, 128.
So again, I'll just pause it, but you get the idea. That's that OCR, or the text to speech. So it takes a picture, starts reading that back to us audibly. And again, we can have earbuds on or Bluetooth connection to it, whatever we need to do for the classroom or where you're at, so we're not disturbing anybody else. But then this button up here, it's a old floppy disk looking thing for those of us that are old enough to remember those. So if I touch that, that's where it's going to save it as a text file. It's an option. We don't have to. If we don't do that, it doesn't save it at all. It'll just clear out once I exit from this. But if we wanted to save that as a text file, I just simply hit that. It's a quick process. In fact, I'll just show you. Saves as fast as that. So it's already saved now into the computer. But again, I can just manipulate it around. So I can actually just read this if I want digitally, just move it side to side. Or again, if I want it to read back to me at a certain spot.
Tablet solution based on a Microsoft Surface Pro with 12.3 inches screen gives the user a complete mobile solution. The unit is perfect for any smaller task.
So I'll pause that again. I'll close it out. So we'll just tap there. And then we're back to live mode again. So it's us looking at what we're wanting to read. So it's just like the CCTV mode again. Now, the nice thing too, since it is a Windows computer, I can bring this down to a split screen, and I can have the magnifier on half the screen. And then I can open up Word or the internet on the other side. And then that way it allows me to kind of have that split screen. Now, a 12.3 inch screen might not be as effective as a larger screen. However, the Windows tablets have a USB-C connection on the side. And when we're at home or in the office, we can just one cable connect from USB-C to HDMI into a 27-inch screen, a 32-inch screen, or whatever size you want to work with. And that would be kind of a docking system at that point. So you would see whatever's on this screen on the larger screen off to the side. And you can, either run it as duplicated, where it's the same thing on both screens, or you can actually run it as a secondary screen and maybe use this as your magnifier, and then you're doing your computer work up on the larger screen. Since it is a computer, we do have a large print Bluetooth keyboard with mouse pad that comes with it. So this would be easier than trying to use the on-screen keyboard with the tablet itself. And then for those that were used to using like a Zoom text or some sort of software magnifier, you either have the option right now of the magnifier app within Windows, which is getting better. It's not quite the Zoom text quality yet, but it's getting better. But our systems all come with iZoom, which is a direct replacement to Zoom text. So that way, if I double tap that one, it launches that app. I have to turn on my keyboard because this one does require a keyboard. Speech on. I don't want the speech on though. Did I turn my keyboard off, I guess. All right, there we go. So now we can increase the magnification of our desktop just like you would do if you were using your computer at home. Now, the unique thing with iZoom is I'm going to go back up to the top left corner of my screen. And for those of you that can see it, there's a red tab or red bar on the bottom and a red bar on the top. That's going to give me a relative position of where I am on my screen. Again, I'm in the top left corner. So the one on the bottom is to the left and the one on the right is to the top. Now, as I converge down to the opposite corner where I'm going to the bottom right, these bars are converging down to the bottom one's going to the right and the one on the right is going to the bottom. So it's just giving me the idea of where I'm at on my screen, because again, that's one of the hard parts when you're working with a magnified solution is really where you're at on your screen. So the iZoom is unique in that, so they have those tracking bars to kind of help you. So I'm going to go ahead and close out iZoom, and you'll see how it just went back to normal, which those icons are a lot smaller. I had that at 2.4 times magnification with iZoom on. So that's just really why it's there, to help us with the magnification on the Windows desktop. How this one folds down, it's really, again, very compact. So stand on the side. I have it plugged in just so I don't run out of juice, but it actually has a battery, so it's running on battery now. The distance camera is USB connected, which is important because it's drawing power from the tablet. We don't have to worry about whether or not our distance camera is charged. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug that. It just slides out of its slot on the stand. That would go into our carrying case. And then the stand itself folds down once, folds down twice like a clamshell. And that's all that we have for that total solution is the stand with the tablet inside. And it comes with a backpack that you can carry it with, or a laptop style carry bag. I got to use two hands, so excuse me while I reopen this up. And again, this just slides in to the slot up top. So easy, I can do it one-handed, almost. So let's talk about pricing, because that's always the next question on it. There's going to be several different models that we have, and it's all based on the specification of the tablet itself. Our base model, which is an i5 processor, 128 gigabytes on the hard drive, and 8 gigabytes RAM, which is a pretty good size Windows machine. That's $4,395, so $4,395. If you want to bump up the hard drive up to 256, where it'd still be the i5 processor and 8 gigabytes of RAM, that's going to be $49.95. So it's a little bit of a jump to get twice the storage on the hard drive. However, the one that really is a laptop replacement, and this is the one that gets referred or recommended for most Department of Rehabilitation clients, is it's an i7 processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and 512 on the hard drive. Now, that's what most people will get as a laptop computer from the Department of Rehab, and that one's $5,795. So it does jump quite a bit, but Now you have a laptop, CCTV with distance and the OCR, or the text to speech. So it's a total solution. And right out of the box, it's ready to go. The only other thing you may need to add to it would be Office. Because again, you could do Windows or the Microsoft Office, or you can actually use Google Docs if you're into that thing. So just depends on really the end user at that point. So that's the Revo2Go Windows. I'll open it up for questions on it. I see a question from Bob.
Corey, I'm wondering if the tablet and the camera is adjustable in height, so you can get a larger object underneath the camera to take a look at, and is the light intensity adjustable? I've noticed sometimes with mine, I have to play around with the light in order to be able to see the particular object that I have under the camera.
So yeah, so we would, for this one, we would adjust the height of the tablet, and it's a friction connection here. So I just have to, and it's hard to do one-handed, but I would just lift this up and get a higher. So it's limited though. I mean, obviously you can't put a huge thing underneath it. You can rotate the camera down and get a little bit extra clearance with the distance camera, but it's, you know, it's more for being compact and in a smaller form factor. Oh, so light source, there's actually an integrated light underneath the stand. So if you need extra light, there's already something in place for that. Does that answer your question, Bob?
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, and we have Dean, you have a question?
Yes, I got a question. What is, okay, it seems like these tablets and 13-inch one could be just basically, I could just buy a Windows computer or Windows tablet and just install these software. What makes these different than just buying a Windows computer or Windows tablet?
So the software is not available separately. That's the main thing. And the stand isn't, it's all as a package itself.
Uh-huh.
So it is, so you can buy the stand with the software. It'll save you, depending again on the tablet, that i7 16 gigabytes, 512 hard drive, it's about a $2,000 tablet. So you're probably looking at $34.95 for the ancillary pieces to that.
Okay. A $2,000 tablet, most tablets are about like less than 1,000, right? Is this like a special Microsoft tablet or?
Yeah, the Surface tablets, depending on the specifications, again, they're the i7 16 512 with the hard is about $2,000.
Okay.
That's straight off the Microsoft site.
So it's like a regular tablet, basically. Is that what you're trying to say? Like a regular computer or tablet? Okay.
Yeah, so it is a Surface. This one itself is a Surface 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I have the i7 one on this particular demo unit itself, but certainly as you get higher in those specifications, they do get quite a bit more expensive.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Dean. And Becky, you have a question?
Yes, Corey, thank you very much. Given that the camera and the light both work off of the tablet, and knowing how the battery on my iPhone gives up in such a short period of time, how long does the battery, when you're not plugged in, work on this device in general, please?
Good question. So I'll start with the tablets. Tablet battery is about a 10-hour battery. So if you were just using the tablet part, it's about 10 hours. When we start doing the software with the cameras and the lights and the distance camera, it's going to bring that down to about a 2-hour runtime if you're running full tilt.
Okay.
We do have a battery backup that is, I think it's about 5 inches by 3 inches and about an inch thick. and that'll run you all about 10 hours. If you were going to, we usually recommend that with the tablet system, just because you can plop it right next to it, actually have it plugged in, and still not plugged to a wall, having that battery backup right next to you.
And out of curiosity, how much is the battery backup?
The battery backup we have is about $150.
Oh, that's reasonable.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
We have somebody with their hand raised. Last 4 digits of your phone number, 2796. Go ahead. And now say your
Yeah, hi,
name.
this is Tom. Yeah,
Thomas?
this is Tom, and a question that I have is, because glare and I are not friends, what about like a matte, anti-glare or matte screen? That's pretty important. How does this look for that?
You know,
compared to the others.
have the, you know, the glass over the top, so you're going to get some glare. Again, what you could do is, if you were at home, you could plug it into a larger screen. That would help with the glare, because you're not going to be utilizing this screen. You would be off to the side with a larger screen. But certainly, if glare is an issue and you have trouble using an iPad or some other tablet like that, this is, you know, basically the same type of device. You have a touch screen, 12.3 inch, with that glass over the top. So you will have some reflections, although angling the tablet will help with that, so that you don't have any direct, you know, from downward into your eyeballs, but being able to kind of redirect that light source will help with that.
Okay, I know that the iPad, they do a fair amount, you know, on to make less glare for the glass, and I've had problems with like Surface Pros and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
you know, I guess that would be something to look at. And then another question as we're leading into this, and I hate to use the word best, but when you're looking at OCR, which OCR is this? And, you know, is there any kind of ranking as to what's the most robust?
You know, these guys, the people that did the software for this unit, it's the company TriSight out of Canada, and they've been doing it for a long time, probably 12, 13 years by now. So they're really good on their text to speech. I'm trying to remember what voices they're using, the nuanced voices. So they're more lifelike voices. They're the higher quality voices. But when you really get down to the OCR parts of whether it's this device or whether it's the standalone scan and read devices or even the integrated ones on the full CCTVs, it's all about the quality of the camera that's taking the picture, the speed of the processing, and the quality of readback. So honestly, the best one that's out on the market now is Orcam. I mean, they're the fastest. Within 2 seconds, it starts reading it back to you. If you recall, when this one was processing, it probably took 7 seconds. So there's a bit longer delay before you start to get that feedback. But compared to some of the other ones, like the Clear Reader from Optelec, it'll take anywhere from 12 to 17 seconds to process what it took a picture of and then start reading back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear that, and I've got time to burn, but I like accuracy. I mean, that's probably
Sure.
the biggest thing I'm looking at some intense documents. So
Gotcha.
now or later, the best questions that a salesperson wants to hear is, have you got a contact phone number? Because my questions are going to be more specific that I wouldn't want to tie up.
Sure. Yeah, we'll definitely give the contact information at the end. And then, yeah, if you have more questions, you want us to come by, you want to come by and see the devices, we can always set that up as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we have Miriam. Did you have a follow-on question, or your hand is up, and then we'll move on to the next one?
Okay, so you were talking about anti-glare features on the screen. For my iPad, I have purchased, a screen overlay that's a matte finish that
Mhm.
helps me considerably with my iPads. And I'm wondering if something like that would be useful or appropriate for this device.
It absolutely should. Are you still able to use the touchscreen easily with that over the top?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, any of those deflectors or things that help with the glare, as long as you can utilize the touchscreen through them, should work no problem with this
Okay.
touch as well.
Terrific. Yeah, yeah. So, and another question you may want to answer towards the end, where are you physically located in the Bay Area? Because you said, we could come in and, take a look hands-on.
Yep. We'll quickly do that right now. So we're over at the Vista Center San Jose location on Bast.
I'm there every week.
We have the
Terrific.
room on the very end. So if you're looking at the front door of the Vista Center, go all the way over to the right and you'll find us.
Okay, terrific.
We're up by appointment only at this point because we're all over at this point. So just give us a call and we can set up an appointment for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's let Corey move on to the next.
All right.
Thank
So
you. Good questions.
yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna slide down one slot here,
Corey,
and it's
just a
gonna
quick
look
time
really
check.
familiar.
Corey, we've got about 50 minutes left.
50.
50.
Okay, perfect. So what this one is, this is the Igapro. So it should look just like an iPad. It's an iPad Pro 12.9 sitting in a custom stand. And again, that TriSight, they wrote software specifically for the iPad to make it into a magnification device. Now, I know that there's the Seeing AI app. There's some other apps that are out there, magnifier apps. They're good. This one's just a little bit better. So if I hit this magnifier button here, that's going to turn my iPad now into my magnifier. Same concept, pinch to zoom. One finger will refocus the camera if needed, but that's going to be our CCTV. Not as much functionality with the iPad system, at least in our software, than what we have with the Windows. You can do a lot of that same functionality that we had with the Windows straight away with our program, but it's going to be through third-party apps on your iPad itself, whether it's a scanner app or different things like that. But this one also has the text-to-speech directly here. And again, whatever the camera sees, it will take a picture of. Turn it up a little bit so we can hear.
Dot equals 1V.
That's
dot.
We don't want that.
IFLAE.
Same as the other one. If I touch, it's going to pause and then I can go somewhere else on the device.
Unit rhythm in a convenient backpack. With portable fold-up stand, user can use the Igapro to magnify text under the tablet's rear camera by simply pinching to zoom directly on.
Now, I don't know if you can hear that over the Zoom call, but the speaker system, because the iPad is set up more for entertainment use a lot of times, the speakers in the iPad are a lot better than what's in the Surface tablet. But, I mean, the Surface tablet's good enough. This is just a little bit better. So again, I'll let you kind of hear it.
Buttons. Zoom directly on the screen. Easy on-screen buttons allow the user to change color modes between 8 different content.
So again, that's the text-to-speech for the iPad system. Now, I don't have a scanning button because, again, that was within the other software, but we would be able to do that with the third-party app. The stand itself is a little bit more metalish. The other one had some 3D printing done on it, but this is pretty much all metal. But what's nice is, again, if I close this app out, we're back into our iPad. And if I want to pull it out, I can pull it out and use it on the stands with the keyboard covers or anything like that. The other nice thing with this one, especially for our individuals that want to use it at home, maybe next to an easy chair, we have a floor stand that would sit next to your easy chair with an articulating arm, and you can put your iPad in there, swing the arm over over your lap, and you can have it underneath your reading material, underneath the camera, and use it almost like a screen magnifier. So you would be holding it underneath there, sliding back and forth with it, and it's just going to be sitting in the stand, the floor stand, not necessarily the stand. So you take the tablet out, put that in that articulating arm, and then swing it in, use your magnifier for however long you want. When you're done, you can launch Netflix and watch a movie with the screen right in front of you too. So there's a lot of flexibility with that these tablet systems are allowing us to do now, because again, if you recall, the traditional video magnifiers, that was a reading station that you had to go to, whereas these things are allowing us to kind of more customize it into your lifestyle at this point. Same concept. This one has a Bluetooth keyboard that it comes with. It's actually a setup for the Apple iDevices. So you have the command instead of the Windows keys. But again, you can use it with anything. It's a Bluetooth keyboard that would just hook up to the connection here. This one does have a distance camera. It's not as good as the one that we have with the USB on the Surface tablet. It's a Kodak camera that wirelessly connects to it, but you got to make sure that you charge that one because it's on its own. It doesn't have any power from the tablet itself. But again, most of these ones are for individuals that are traveling, want to take an iPad with them, and that would be this device with everything on it. Let's see, folding it down. Very simple. Again, size of a laptop, a little bit larger laptop. This one, maybe the 17-inch laptop size, and a little bit heavier because it is more metal as far as the stand, but certainly doable for anybody to carry around with them. And it does come with a backpack that you can put it into. Any questions on this one? This is the Igapro 12.9. Oh, sorry, didn't tell you pricing. Let's do that. So for the total system with the iPad and the software and the stand, it's $3,999. So just under $4,000.
Any questions about this? What is it called? The
Igapro?
Igapro.
Okay.
Raise your hand. Okay, we got a few. Becky, you're the first one. Go ahead.
Corey, again, very interesting. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Do you have any idea whether DOR might be willing to fund this sort of equipment, either the Mac version or the Windows version for clients in the future?
Yes, in fact, the Windows version is probably our most popular device for the Department of Rehabilitation.
Great. So even more so than computers?
So because it contains the computer as well, that's why the DOR likes it. Because again, you're getting the laptop taken care of, you're getting the CCTV taken care of. And again, it's just an all-in-one device. So yeah, the DOR actually has purchased quite a few of them.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Next is Tom. Tom,
Question on this one. Who makes this?
So this is a company out of Florida called Magnifying America. They're the ones that have put this system or solution together. Obviously, the iPads from Apple. The software was actually written by TriSight, just the same company that did the Windows version. But the system itself is put together by the company out of Florida called Magnifying America. It's also known as Patriot Pro.
That's what I was looking for. I've seen it. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So again, in California, or NorthState, we try and market it so that we have more say-so in what we do. And then we throw more things into it. So we had the backpack, we had a couple other ancillary things. But if you were to order the Igapro, you'd get a couple more things. If you order the Patriot Pro, same cost, you just don't get as many things with it. So we try and make it a complete solution for people.
I remember before, and I don't know if they changed, but the CCTV area seemed to be off. It wasn't like middle center. Has that been improved?
You know what? It's because of where the camera is located on the tablet itself. The Windows tablets, they're dead center. So yeah, you're right in the middle. If I launch, in fact, let me go back to that again. Oops, got to touch the right button. So if I launch this, here's the center, but the camera is physically off to the right. So it's not doing anything other than just launching the camera. So we are technically off to the right a little bit, which is also why they made the platen on the stand slightly larger, because you're going to be working more towards the right. But that's all
okay. And
physical location of the iPad's camera.
And like stability of the first product and this one for like the CCTV for the case. I mean, is one, to use the word robust again, of this and the previous Windows one?
As far as the
durable,
or just in general.
The case, because I remember it was pretty hefty, but I mean, the case of the two, the stability, just the handling of the first one and this.
Yeah, the first one's slightly lighter, but it's still very stable as well. So let me kind of go back to this one. It's very stable. And so is this one. I mean, they're both very stable. This one, because it's more metal, is slightly heavier though. The platen is larger down here than the platen on this one. So it's taking up more desk space, but that's because, this camera's right dead center and this one we're off to the side. So we need it a little bit larger, but either one is very stable side to side or what have you. So it's, again, they're either you're not going to go wrong with either one. Just depends on if you want an iPad solution or a laptop solution. That's kind of what it boils down to.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Becky?
Thank you.
Becky?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. How long does the battery last for the Igapro, please?
So similar, you're going to be about, I think, 3 hours on this one because we're not drawing power off of that distance camera. So you do get a little bit longer. But this one, you have the integrated light. So I'm looking at myself and pointing at something else. So, so you have the integrated light or the flash being used as the light bulb down below. So obviously that's going to draw quite a bit of power, but I can turn that off if I don't need the light source. That actually turns the flash off. So that would definitely save some power. So you might get a little bit longer, 3.5 hours out of that.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Tom, did you have another follow on?
Yeah, last question on this. For the iPad Pro, is it the latest, greatest, 5G, all that kind of stuff?
It doesn't include the 5G version. It's just a Wi-Fi version, but it is the latest iPad. But yeah, it's you don't have the ability to get the phone one.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll lower your hand, Tom. Any other questions? Okay.
All right. So let's see, we'll go to another tablet system. Boy, boring you with the tablet systems today. So this one is actually the CloverBook Pro. And there's 3 models to the CloverBook. So this one actually does have a secondary screen that I unfortunately didn't put up here, but it would be up here. That's where we got the idea of that secondary screen for the new Revo unit, because this one you can do that with the distance camera on the larger or the other screen itself, and then have either camera on it. But this one is straight magnification, distance and tabletop, and text to speech or OCR. It does not have any computer connectivity. So again, for somebody that might want a 17-inch laptop, that's going to be sitting on the side if they're a student, and they're going to have all of this on their desk. So again, it just depends on really what the client needs. But this one's great for more primary students or traveling, because this one, again, there's 3 versions of it. The base model is all magnification or only magnification and downward wise, but it's about $1,800, $1,900. So it's a fold up 12.5-inch tablet system that you can really take with you. And it's not much more than some of the larger portable devices. There's a 12-inch unit from Eschenbach, and that one's about $1,795. But again, you don't have the ability to write underneath it because it sits right on top of whatever you're looking at. This one, again, it's nice and portable. You can still write underneath the unit itself. So it's almost like a hybrid where it's a kind of a handheld device, but you're able to do your full CCTV thing. This one has either the magnification wheel, or intuitively you can pinch to zoom on this one as well. The unique thing that it does have is this orange toggle switch here. Is I can actually physically move the camera without moving my paper. So if I get it to a certain magnification level, I can actually manipulate the camera and maneuver it around. So it's a little bit smoother than me trying to move underneath it. So it's just another option for you, but full color modes are available. Just simply turn the dial. Okay, there we go. Distance camera. We can toggle over to that off to the side here.
Distance view.
And again, we're just looking at a painting on the wall there. And it's got a little pencil camera here, so I can manipulate that around, and I twist it to go wherever we want to go. So the differences on this one, again, there's no computer connectivity, so it's a great just CCTV. However, if you're wanting to integrate the computer, that was the previous 2 ones. So this one, the 3 models are the CloverBook Pro. That one is the full version, which has the text to speech, the distance camera. So that one's going to be $2,995, so $2,995. The one that would have distance and tabletop camera, but no OCR, that one is $2,495. And the one that is just a magnification device, so you're only getting the downward magnifier, that one is $1,895. So again, it's a little bit more portable of a unit that you can take with you. It comes with a nice little carry case that you can carry on a plane or put it in your luggage, although I wouldn't recommend that. Better to carry it on the plane with you. And that's the CloverBook family.
Horizontal split screen. Vertical split screen. New view.
Any questions on the CloverBook? Okay.
This is Lisa. I have a question. How did you get it to do the OCR part? What did you touch?
Oh, so if I want to, there's actually a speak button here.
Okay.
So that would take a picture and give me the OCR. It was talking to me because I was cycling through the modes that we could do. So I did distance view.
Okay,
We can do split screening, just like the other one, or we can have one on each screen if we have the other screen engaged. Horizontal split screen, and then back to near view. So it cycles through,
got
but
it.
it's audibly giving me those changes.
Okay, thank you. I love that orange button. That is, I wish everyone did that.
The
That's great.
the only one, no, there's a couple of them, but the other one that has it too is the Eschenbach Visilux FHD. The buttons on the sides, you can bring it, you know, it kind of controls the camera similarly, but it doesn't have the little joystick where you can kind of do it all over the place.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, we have a question. Last four digits are 0435. Go ahead. I'm gonna say your name, please.
Hey, this is Ryan. Thanks, Corey, for your time today. My question was about the poundage for each device. Are you able to know what the total poundage are for when the tablet is connected to the stand and so forth, and what it weighs?
Yeah, you know, they're about, let me guesstimate. They're between 3 to 5 pounds. It's not, I mean, it's about the size and weight of a laptop. So you're not really, you know, getting a lot more weight than a normal laptop would be. So in that, you know, 3, 4, 5 pounds, it's right in there.
That's awesome, because even the portable CCTVs are like 12.5 pounds. So, you know, 3 to 5 is great.
Yeah, and that's what's nice. I mean, we have, you know, we're really, these products are popular in schools. In fact, Mount Pleasant Unified School District loves the iPad system. They're just more Apple intensive there. And then other ones like the Windows environment. Now, what we try and do is we try and get them converted to Windows earlier, because that's what they're going to be on pretty much through life. There might be some instances where they can be a Mac family or whatever, but you know, when they're going to college, you know, the Department of Rehab, they tend to buy PCs more than anything. And then when they get into the working environment, Windows has always been the kind of dominant OS. So if we can get them on Windows earlier, then they're just training the whole way through their schooling on Windows, you know, so that's always a benefit there for, that's what we're always trying to talk with the teachers about.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure. All right.
No other questions at this moment.
All right. So let me kind of do a little manipulating here.
And we have about 30 minutes left.
All right, perfect. I think we should be good. Okay. So this one will be a quick one.
Speech speed increased. Speech speed decreased.
So when we're talking about that OCR and, you know, saying that OrCam is the fastest, they're getting some competition these days. Now this one obviously isn't a wearable unit itself. It's a standalone scan and read machine. This is called the Lyric, LYRIQ. And if you've ever had any of devices from a company called ABIC back in the day, this company was started by the founder of ABIC. History there, he sold his company to Freedom Scientific. They took over all of the iPals and iPal Solo and that type of product. And he had a non-compete for 5 years. Well, those 5 years are over. So he's come back out with a new scan and read machine that uses a lot of the same functionality as original iPal Solo. But again, when we talk about that quick text to speech or, you know, processing time where it takes a picture and starts reading almost immediately, this one's getting close to the OrCam. So if I move this document off, there's a little logo here that it recognizes there's nothing on. So it's going to tell me what to do.
Please place your document.
Please place your document.
Assistive technology, wearable tech, OrCam glasses, Orcam is an intuitive wearable device with a smart camera designed to assist people who are blind or visually impaired. Orcam responds to simple gestures, making it easy to tell whether it's to read, find an item, or recognize.
So now I have physical buttons, pause and play, rewind, reading speed faster or slower on the side, volume control in the center, and then the power button and headphone jack on the side. But if you saw or heard that, it's kind of ironic that I'm having it read about Orcam when we're talking about Orcam at the same time. But it takes that picture and within just a couple seconds, it starts reading. So again, this isn't probably something for our students so much as somebody that maybe has tremors and can't use Orcam because their head moves too much, but they still want that audio feedback. This is a great device that's come out on the market in the last 6 months. So we've picked it up. We're the California representative for the product itself. The VA really likes it. So I think we'll start to see more of our veterans getting this instead of the clear reader, because again, that clear reader will take about 15 seconds from the time it takes the picture until it starts reading to us. So again, it's just a more instantaneous feedback. And again, as soon as I'm done with it, I just lift it
Please
off,
place your documents.
change the page, takes a new picture, and it'll start
Patriot
reading that.
ViewPoint, $2,995. Vision Buddy. Vision Buddy is designed to be the simplest device out there to assist visually impaired individuals.
So again, you can see how fast it is. The unit cost is $2,075. So $2,075. Includes a little carry bag, so you could take this with you. Right now we're running on battery. It has battery as well. So this one, you'd probably about 16 hours on the battery if you were really using it. But again, since it's on your table, you probably have it plugged in. But again, if you wanted to move it from one room to the next, it's very small. It folds down when I'm done with it, and it's very thin. So we can put that in a bag and just take it with us. Comes with a little laptop style carry bag. Anybody have questions on that one? Again, there's not much to it. It takes a picture and reads it to you. So that's about all it does.
Does it have different languages, Corey?
It does. We just need to know the language so that we can program it in there. But there's, I think, 19 or 20 languages that it has in it. Any other questions?
Yeah, folks, that's the good benefit of going through NorthState. They can personalize something for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ken, you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, I haven't heard you mention, but this applies to all the systems. Do they have a zoom camera capability?
Not sure what you mean.
The camera, when you're looking across the room, can you zoom in and zoom out from the distance?
Oh, yeah. So the first three that I showed you all have that capability.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have another question from Diane. Go ahead and unmute.
I have a quick question about the Igapro. I actually have a 12.9 iPad, and I'm just wondering if it would be easy to get something like that converted.
So
Just have to. Is it a total standalone?
yeah, it's going to come with the system itself. So it would come with a new tablet or iPad. They haven't offered that yet where we could convert somebody else's iPad to it. And I think it's because they have to go through some process. That's why it's taken so long to get the iPad version out, because the Apple Store is just so locked down. But I don't know what they did, but they figured it out so they can get their software on it without messing anything else up.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Well, then we will kind of move on from there. What I wanted to show is a couple new wearables. Well, one really new wearable and one kind of older newer wearable. So this is the Patriot ViewPoint. This is probably our most popular goggle size wearable system that's out. So it's the Samsung Oculus headset. It actually contains an S10 Samsung phone in here, but the way the manufacturer made it is that you can't tell it's a phone. They were designing this primarily to start with for our veterans. And most of the veterans that we deal with are in their 80s, 90s at this point. And they don't want to be, they don't want anybody worried about being tech avert. So they make it so it's, really easy to utilize. You don't have to pull the phone out at all. The red button on the top turns it on. And so it's a wearable pair of goggles. So as soon as you turn it on, it boots up into the magnifier mode. And there's a touch pad on the side that I can swipe forward or swipe backwards to make it bigger and smaller. Or I can ask it or tell it to do things. If I say Patriot, it'll beep at me, and then I can utilize my voice control, make bigger, make smaller, change color, or even take picture, and that'll actually do text to speech. But again, it takes about 10 seconds to process, but then it'll put the text on the screen in front of us as it's reading to us. So we can try and follow along, or just, like most times, just sit back and relax and listen. There's 2 physical buttons on the headset. The first one in the front is for color modes. So just like a CCTV, we can change the colors. And then the back button is our read button. So that's where it would take a picture and start reading to us audibly. Now the difference, this one's very similar to the Iris Vision, the original Iris Vision, because they use the same hardware. So it's still the Samsung Oculus headset. They're now with the S10 phone as well. It all boils down to the software that it's written for. Again, I keep reiterating TriSight out of Canada. They're the ones that did the software for this one. They've been working with Android for the full 12 to 14 years they've been in business. So they've really kind of mastered it. So when I go side by side with somebody, they try the Iris Vision, they try the ViewPoint, they tend to choose the ViewPoint because it's just a little clearer, and that's all software driven. It's not anything to do with the hardware, and it's a little bit easier to use. Again, you have the voice controls or the swiping quickly on it. Now, the difference between this and maybe like the eSight, because a lot of people hear about eSight because they market the heck out of that product, is the visual field. The ViewPoint has a visual field of 105 degrees. And with our clients or patients that are macular degeneration, that's really necessary because, again, that 105 allows us more field of view to see with, but also the way the headset's laid out, and because of those larger screens, we can actually utilize our eccentric viewing, looking off slightly to the side, to allow us to kind of use our find our sweet spot, even within the headset itself. Whereas a lot of the smaller ones like eSight, for example, that's only a 37-degree field of view. So it's significantly larger. So you have more chance for this to work with individuals that have more issues with the macular or a larger spot of macular. It's not something that somebody's going to walk with because, again, you're encased in it. And the more magnified you are, you lose your surrounding focus. So it's something that if you're moving, you take it off, you go to where you're going to sit in front of the television, you put it on and you use the device. What I found is that these types of devices, all of these headsets, whether it's this one, whether it's Vision Buddy, Iris Vision, New Eyes, there's so many that are out. It's actually getting pretty crowded marketplace for these. They're more of a quality of life product. It's going to be something that you're going to watch a movie with, watch television, go to the ballpark, go to a play, anything that you would use a pair of binoculars, but with a much wider field of view. And this one will actually zoom into about 20 times, 22 times magnification. So you can actually get pretty close up on the details of things. But again, primarily the people that are using this thing are using it to watch television with. I think that's the number one thing that people do with the device. Trying to read with it, head moves, hand moves. So it's not the most effective. That's where the CCTVs or the video magnifier is a little bit easier, because this is a 5-inch screen that's in there. So it's kind of like having a handheld that you're wearing on your face. So again, the more magnified you have the text, the less words across it. So it makes it much harder to read within context. So again, more of a quality of life product, but absolutely one of our more popular head-worn devices. DOR, we don't get many through DOR because again, it's for somebody working in the warehouse or something like that where they need to work hands-free. They need to move with the device on. They can't keep pulling it off and putting it back on. And that's really kind of where the next one that I'm going to show you comes into play. Now, this one is the Idaptic I3. So this one really would be a straight competitor to the eSight device. And the reason being is, again, the device is very lightweight, very small. In fact, this one is probably, well, it is the closest thing to a pair of sunglasses that's out on the market. It's the lightest weight head-worn magnifier, and it only does magnification. It doesn't do text-to-speech at all. It's all visual feedback. But what's nice comparing it to the eSight is this one has a 55-degree field of view. Again, eSight has a 37-degree field of view. This one is quite a bit larger, so we see more success with this one even than with eSight. So the other thing is it's very lightweight. The eSight has the halo that goes around your head, and then the lenses come into play right in front of you. This one just sits on your face like a normal pair of sunglasses. The battery is very easy to remove and replace. It magnetically connects to the device itself. And then you would have a charging case because it comes with 2 batteries. So while this one's being utilized, this one's being charged. This one will last an hour while this one's charging, and this one to charge would take an hour. So you can swap back and forth the batteries. If this isn't plugged in, you would have the ability to charge each battery twice. So you get about 4 hours worth of use. But if you have this plugged in all the time, it's continuous because you're just swapping batteries back and forth hour after hour. So that's a really nice feature with it. How you control the device is you either control it with a little dongle that controls magnification, color modes. So this could be around our wrist and just holding the buttons, or it actually comes with a cell phone to control. There's actually an app that they have that allows you to kind of do more things with it. You can change the calibration of the pupil distances between. The way they do it is digital versus the way eSight does it is physical. You would, on eSight, you physically move their lenses side to side for your pupil distance. This one, actually, you digitally set it, and it's actually a really neat feature for them to be able to do that. All of the processing is done within the headset. There is no processing that you have to rely on the cell phone. That's why you can utilize their little dongle instead of the cell phone as well. So you have a couple of ways to do this, control it anyways. But this is the kind of device that you would be able to utilize if you, let's say, worked in a warehouse or even in an office and you just wanted to wear this while you're working on your computer. You have the ability to do that as well. So again, this is more DOR tailored. And to be honest with you, it's a relatively new device. It's been within 6 months or so that we've had it. And we've already had 5 or 6 through the Department of Rehab, 1 through the VA. So it is an accepted device. It's just the justification that needs to be there for the client to be able to get it. So again, the pricing on the 2 devices, going back to the Patriot ViewPoint, that one's $2,995. And I think that's the pricing for all of the wearables this style. The Vision Buddy, same price, $29.95. Iris Vision was $29.95. So they're all around that ballpark there. The Idaptics I3, that one's more expensive. It's $59.95. It's the same price as the eSight 4. So whether you get the eSight 4 or this one, they're both $5,995. But again, this one is just a lot lighter weight. And actually, when I've had people put this one on and the eSight on, they actually say this one's a little bit clearer of an image. So again, that's just going to be the camera that they're using at the front and the screens on the inside of the device. So again, that's the eSight or Idaptic I3 system itself. So how you put it on, you just kind of lift the back of the device, splits out, and this just sits over your face. And there is a little nose piece that sits on your nose right in the front, just like a pair of sunglasses. Any questions on these two devices?
Any questions? Don't see any.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Becky does.
Okay, true to form. I'm curious again, if I may, about the battery. If someone takes this out and goes walking around town,
Sure.
will they get stranded?
Sure. So with the Idaptic, which is the one that you'd be able to walk with. So this one, again, each battery will last 1 hour. What I would be doing is if I was going somewhere, I would take my battery pack, the charging case, which has my extra battery with me. And so this one's going to last an hour. When that one's dead, I plug it back into the empty slot, put this battery back on. That's going to last an hour. And this is going to take an hour to recharge. This battery or this case will recharge the device or the batteries twice. So when I'm out and about, I'm going to have 4 hours total charge time. But if I'm in the office and I'm using it, this battery, the case can be plugged in and charging all the time. So then I'm just swapping back and forth and I can have unlimited runtime. But if out and about, it's going to be about 4 hours.
That's still quite respectable.
Yeah, it's definitely, I love how they did it with the extra battery and the charging case, because there's really nothing out there like that. If it was the eSight, I have to take that big battery, if you're familiar with it at all, and there's no charging case for it. So it needs to all be fully charged, and I still won't have the same amount of runtime with it.
Right.
The ViewPoint itself, that's about a 2-hour charge or use time, but I can use this plugged in, and it's usually not an issue because I can either have it plugged in to the wall while it's next to me, while I'm watching television, or even a cell phone battery pack, power bank, I can charge that as well and use it while it's charging.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any
Well-
other questions? Okay.
Or does
This is
anybody
not
have
a
does anybody have
question.
questions on any of the devices?
Yeah, it's a good time to open all of that up.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say that it's very, very exciting that you will be coming to us and that you will be there on site at our San Jose location. How fantastic.
Yeah, we were really excited about the opportunity when it presented itself. We've been very happy, and the partnership with the society has been well received with clients and Department of Rehab and the VA. And we were just really excited to be able to kind of replicate that down with the Vista Center. And it's going to be a great time, I think. So I did want to give you our contact information. So if you were wanting to call us, our 800 number is 877-682-0452. Again, that's 682-0452. And that would be directly to us. And then, depending on where you wanted your appointment, if it was in home or even at the Vista Center, San Jose, we would set that up for you. Or if you just have questions, that's going to ring my cell phone 9 times out of 10. So you'll probably get a hold of me. If not, just leave me a voicemail and I'll get right back to you. If I'm in a demo or in a meeting, I obviously won't answer, but certainly I'll get right back to you as I can. So if you want to send us an email, my email is my first name, Corey, CORY, at NorthStateAT.com. So that's Corey, CORY, at NorthStateAT.com. Anybody else? Sure.
Well, Corey, I want to thank you so much for your presentation today. It was really exciting to see so many different devices all in one presentation. I think you did a really, really good job. And NorthState has got great customer service. I've dealt with NorthState and Corey for quite a while and have a couple of their devices and can't recommend them enough. So thank you so much, Corey.
Thank you.